All you need to do is subscribe.
Common for people to feel attached to idols, celebrities, or fictional characters. Even though these interactions are very one-sided, the feelings we have for them may be as strong as if we genuinely knew them. These attachments, marked precisely by how one-sided the interactions are parasocial, and a lot of industries capitalize on this. Before we dive into the details, let's see a few extreme cases from East Asia. Keep in mind, I'm highlighting some of the most infamous depictions of parasocial relationships, and this isn't representative of what the majority of fans are like. But these are true cautionary tales of when obsession goes too far. China, 2007. A man jumps into the sea, hoping his suicide would guilt Hong Kong actor-singer Andy Lau into meeting his daughter, an obsessed fan. His daughter, Yang Li-jun, was so obsessed with Andy Lau that she had quit school as she spent all her time thinking about her idol. Her dream was to tell Andy Lau how much she loved him. To support this dream, Yang Li-jun's parents sold their only house to fund her trips to Hong Kong. Her dad had also attempted to sell a kidney to the local hospital, but was refused as it was illegal. Yang Li-jun did manage to finally meet Andy Lau at a fan club event celebrating his birthday, but she didn't get a chance to have a conversation with him. This was devastating to her as she wasn't able to fulfill her lifelong dream of telling him how much she liked him. And this led to her father tragically choosing to end his life. His suicide was accompanied by a 12-page letter pleading with Andy to meet his daughter and to give her just 5 minutes of his time. Andy Lau's agency denied the request, with the actor stating that he hoped she could move on with her life.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, 100% in a situation. Wow, denied? What are you guys, fucking insane? Yeah, dude, he should say yes, so then everybody starts killing themselves. That seems like a good idea. What the fuck do you mean, chat? Of course he's gonna say no. That's so wild, dude. He should say yes so that, like, random motherfuckers think, like, that's the best method.
It's reported that Andy Lau had to seek help from a psychiatrist, not just from this lone incident, but also from other fans who would send fan letters in only to threaten self-harm if they could not meet him. In Korea, obsessive fans are known as sussing fans. A quick list of some infamous incidents include female sussings, shaving their head and cross-dressing to infiltrate male bathrooms that their idols were using, renting the same vans and parking in the same place to pick up or to really kidnap these idols, and also setting cameras in hotels that their idols were staying at. Extreme cases also happen in Japan, like the case a few years ago when...
Okay, maybe I shouldn't be watching this. Bro, this is literally fucking... This scary ass shit, dude. What the fuck? Okay. This is what chuds think is happening to children? Yeah, no, it's actually happening to Twitch streamers. Hey, get out of there. No, Kaya. Have a chew to... No. You are spoiled. Yeah, walk away. Old little brat. Back to your chew toy.
An obsessive fan zoomed in to the pupils of an idol to find out where she lived. In these very extreme cases, the fans go too far by stalking or harassing their idols to obtain interaction, at the cost of causing harm to others. The vast majority of parasocial fans, though, understand that their comments of support or the feelings they have may never be directly acknowledged, and are okay with that. And that's what we'll be focusing on. But before we dive in, we need to understand a bit more about this phenomenon in general. First, the idea of parasocial or one-sided relationships isn't anything new. It was first coined by Horton and Wall in 1956, and at first it was just the idea of parasocial interactions, which lasts for however long the viewing experience was, so there was no such thing as someone living rent-free in your mind. But this concept was then expanded to also include long-term relationships formed between viewers and media figures, which extends past that initial media exposure, as this was known as parasocial relationships. The most interesting part of this phenomenon for me is perfectly summarized by Derek and others as they state. Although people consciously know that parasocial relationships are not real relationships, in many ways they feel psychologically real and meaningful. So, if these relationships are all one sided, how do people get attached and what do they get out of it? There are some theories we can look into to explain why parasocial relationships can be fulfilling, like the uses and gratifications theory. In a nutshell, this theory states that people don't just passively consume media and watch something for the sake of watching something, but rather they seek out media to satisfy psychological needs. For example, wanting to be entertained, wanting to learn something, wanting a sense of social interaction, or a lot of the times in my case, wanting to procrastinate and ignore something that really needs to be done.
Jesus, the first parasocial relationship. Yeah. Yeah. Jesus should have been like, all right, guys, fucking chill out. You know what I mean? Instead, he leaned into it. So he's at fault a little bit.
The fact that media is able to fulfill a sense of social interaction. This is pretty important, as if someone is feeling lonely and they don't really have a way to satisfy that need, consuming media is a very low barrier and easy way to fill that need. Something else that is super interesting is to consider our evolutionary instincts. For example, we have a tendency to like those we encounter more frequently and to become attached to people we often see. This helped us bond with our tribe mates back in our caveman days and helped us recognize who was and wasn't a threat. But nowadays, we can see and recognize so many people's faces despite never meeting or interacting with any of them in real life. So someone who's watching a TV show may consciously know that these people aren't real, but our evolutionary instincts don't make that distinction. So our feelings of attachment and closeness still form, just as they would for a real person. With the rise of social media as well, the occurrence of parasocial relationships becomes even more evident. If we think about it, back in the day, we only ever saw celebrities in whatever movies they starred in. Press conferences and interviews were where we could catch glimpses of them in more normal settings. But now with platforms like Instagram, you can easily follow somebody and see what they're up to in their daily lives, where they went and what they did without breaking any laws. These constant updates from celebrities and idols also makes their presence a lot more sticky to fans. So parasocial relationships are much more likely to be formed via social media rather than traditional media. Because parasocial relationships often occur between fans and characters or celebrities, it makes East Asia a fascinating place to examine, since many of their big cultural exports like the idol industry or the anime industry is fueled by fandom. And we'll see that as much as parasocial fans exert pressure onto idols, like reacting badly if they date, threatening boycotts and so on, parasocial relationships.
Oh my God, Swifties, like literally. Swifties are the white version of idol culture. I mean, I guess we kind of knew that already. That's what they did. Also BTS, but recently it slowed down. Yeah, because they join the military. I mean, that's always been around. It's always been around in most lukewarm take. You crack the code. Ariana 2 or Nicki Minaj with Barbs. Except the Barbs don't really give a shit about who Nicki Minaj dates, from what I understand.
Relationships are also used to escape pressure, and all of this reflects really interesting social cultural norms. To start us off, I want to look at China first, the enormous power these fans hold, and what these fans get out of their one-way relationships. Often we see fans as people who support their favorite celebrities and play more of a background role. But what if this relationship dynamic changes and fans are the ones who actually can influence celebrities? A term more specific to China when we're talking about parasocial fans are parakin fans. Parakin fans are fans that engage in fantasized kinships with their idols. These fans will often call themselves sister fans, brother fans, mother and father fans to their idol.
Most Swifties aren't like that. Y'all just notice the craziest ones. Man, I have a podcast with one, okay? I know what Swifties are like. Conservatives are in a parasocial relationship with Hunter Biden. True. They're like, Hunter, we need more pics of your dick, please. Like, Hunter Biden's work of art is like if 50-50 Cupid, you know what I mean? Hunter Biden's Cupid is his penis. You know what I mean? So, like, they want more. They want more work. I literally pay to receive message from Sejong, and I'm not that crazy. Your name is Sejong, simp. I don't know who Sejong is. You've been a 56-month subscriber? What does that mean, you pay to receive messages from Sejong? What does that mean? Now, I get the joke that this person was saying. They're saying, like, they're not as crazy as the Hunter Biden stands, but I don't know what that's the same as the one app. Wait, what is that? Don, don't bully my fellow K-poppies. Wait. K-pop has like the message your idol thing. Idol culture is AI chats that are paid content. Wait, really? Like Cameo, you pay, celebs send out generic messages? What the fuck? So it's like OnlyFans. They have a paid messaging app for K-pop idols. It's like OnlyFans. OnlyFans, you're doing like mass blast for the most part. And people think it's like individual, but they're usually sending it to everyone. We have to explore this OnlyFans, but messages. That's what OnlyFans is. That part is weird for sure. Asia is next level with fan service. I mean, yeah, except sometimes they don't even message on the app, so you pay for nothing. 2 EXO members got canceled for not messaging. What the fuck? Yo, that shit's crazy. Damn, I give you guys way too much, dude. You can say any dumbass shit in this chat and I'll fucking reply to it. What the fuck is wrong with me? I guess some Twitch streamers do that by charging you for TTS and only responding to TTS.
You guys call yourself mom and dad fans? That's kind of weird. Anyways, I can bark. Notice that all these titles are all related to family, which leans into China's society and culture. For decades, China enforced a one-child policy, and as a result of this, the generation between 1980 and 2015 grew up without siblings. So this kinship they form with idols could provide a sense of fulfillment for this generation who was missing siblings, and be of comfort to aging parents who are your mom and dad fans that might be feeling lonely after their only child grows up and leaves the house. Parasocial fans branding themselves as family, as brothers, sisters, moms, and dads also often allows them a sense of entitlement over their idols. As a result, these fans are much more liberal in terms of voicing their opinions of how idols should act and what they should do. When idols are caught in dating rumors or are revealed to be dating, the mature response is to, of course, be happy for them. But not all fans handle this news well.
That's insane, brother. That's actually fucking so crazy. There's a whole ecosystem of stans, yeah.
Regardless of how fans react, it's the idol's life and their choice. So very rarely do we see idols actually breaking off a relationship if a portion of their fans don't agree. However, this was exactly
Oshinoko is an anime about the Japanese entertainment industry and addressed a lot of these issues. I heard about this. I heard this is a great anime. It's very popular now. There are even streamers in the mass harassment campaigns people in these positions have to endure. Wow. Really? It's so strange. I had no idea. I told you to watch it and you called me a weeb. You are a fucking weeb. But also, wow, really? That's crazy. That'd be so shocking.
the case for one Chinese celebrity. In early 2019, actor and singer Jeffrey Tang was caught dating actress Gina Jin shortly after their co-appearance on a TV program. The sister fans of Jeffrey believed Gina to be too old for him. She was only 5 years older, and a
that's crazy.
significant distraction to his career, which they believed was about to take off. These Parasocial fans put out a strike online and threatened to leave him. A week later, Jeffrey announced his breakup with Gina on social media. Parasocial fans hold a lot of power because they are able to act together as a collective. Often there is a clear division of duties and responsibilities, and Parasocial fans get things done. These fans might organize campaigns, aim to get their idols trending online, and even pay for billboards for special.
Okay, but 5 years older is a lot and it was a significant damper on his career. Man, shut the fuck up. I know you're joking. Jesus Christ. Holy fuck. For a second, I thought that was real because that was so convincing. Theme song for Oshinoko has been the most popular song in Japan for months. It goes so hard. The song's called Idol. Bro, it's almost your B-day. Want to hang out? This fucking guy. I asked if he wanted to come on the stream, and he said no. And now he's in the chat saying, it's almost your B-day, want to hang out. That's insane. The parasocial chatter. Guys. The Osho no Ko anime is popping off hard. It's going to be bigger than One Piece. Yeah, I doubt it. Sorry, I don't want to work for you, lol. What do you mean? Like, we'd just be fucking watching videos and shit. It's not like you're gonna be working for me. God damn, dude.
Events so the idol can get more exposure. For example, Chinese fans put Cai Shukun on the Nasdaq Plaza when he debuted, and this didn't cost the agency anything. The fans completely funded this. Promoting idols in public places isn't just a Chinese fan thing though. It's definitely very common across many Asian fan bases. But imagine how expensive a billboard is and how much collective effort it requires to do something so large scale for an idol. And if we're talking fans coordinating efforts and resources, then I have to bring up the infamous milk wastage incident in 2021. China had an idol debuting reality show called Youth with You, where after months around 120 contestants.
Is she Chinese? Is that why she's talking a lot about China? Because, like, she even said the one child policy led to this, but, like, they have it in Japan, they have it in Korea, in, like, worse ways even in some respects. And I feel like they didn't have those policies, so why the fuck do they have it? You know what I mean? I know it's the first section. I'm just saying that, like, she mentioned that the one child policy was part of the reason, but I don't think that's the only reason. I think it's isolation born out of capitalism for the most part.
Were whittled down to 20. After the final voting round, the top 9 contestants would debut in an idol group. Viewers could vote up to 3 times a day, but if you wanted additional votes, you had to purchase a specific yogurt product from the main sponsor and scan a unique QR code under the lid of the yogurt to get that extra entry. Evidently, dedicated fan clubs honed in on this extra entry clause, and together 48 million yuan or 7.5 million USD was raised for the top 9 contestants to secure them their final spot. However, these purchases came under fire when videos were posted online of workers pouring yogurt down the drain in a process to farm the QR codes. Consequently, state-run news agencies.
Bro, it's kind of cool seeing, like, Asian countries behave this way because, like, I feel like this is some shit America would do. You know what I mean? Like, it's fun to see other countries be just as fucking unhinged as us. You know what I mean? Like, this is some shit that you would 1000% see in America.
Agency Xinhua criticized the program and the voting process, stating, "This is seeking profits and attention through waste and squander, showing a lack of respect for labor." Throughout all of these cases, we can see that Paragon fans do a lot for their idols because of how emotionally invested they are in them. We'll now break down some of the biggest reasons why Chinese people get into parasocial relationships and become Paragon fans.
Also, it's illegal to waste food, no? I thought, like, China had some strict laws about food waste and shit. So I'm surprised that the government didn't crack down on this and shut it down.
Just like how all human behavior is driven by intrinsic and extrinsic motives, the reasons behind how someone becomes a Paragon fan can be split similarly into buckets of being self or idol oriented. Within these two categories, Paragon fan motives are split even further, and this is where we can gain some insight into the why. One big motive for Paragon fans is escapism. This falls under self-oriented motivation, so you do this for yourself, and it describes fans that engage in parasocial relationships to escape from a lacking reality. Another motive, also falling under self-oriented motivation, is identity acquisition. Being part of a fandom can be a huge time commitment and shape a big part of who you are. Fans therefore believe that it's their responsibility to tell idols when they think they're stepping out of line, and that
some of your chatters in this chat act like this. I know. This is a huge component to. Oh, bro, chatters act like this. Chatters fucking act like this about my dog and the way that I've, like, trained Kaya thus far. That's insane when you think about it. Especially when, like, I was objectively correct in the way I've been raising her. And I've done such a good fucking job raising her so far. And they're watching this thinking it's not them. Yeah, I know. Also, without paying you that much. Yeah, that's the worst part of this fucking one-sided parasocial relationship is that, like, I get all the fucking harassment, I get all the stalking, and none of the fucking buku bucks that these guys are making. Yeah, I make a lot of money, but I'm fucking balling on a budget in comparison. What the fuck is this? Why was chat being bad? What'd they do?
CPC with the aim of purging
This
capitalism.
video is called Parasocial Relationships in East Asia, a look into obsession. Yeah. Some of you have a parasocial relationship with Mao Zedong, and you need to reevaluate that.
Traditionalist elements from Chinese society. Mao Zedong emphasized loyalty to the state and encouraged the youth to rebel against traditional authority.
Yeah, he said Mao said have a parasocial relationship with the state instead.
Figures, including parents, teachers, and elders. So, in essence, rejecting that idea of filial piety, which is key to Confucianism. Now, I'm going to say something that might confuse you. We just mentioned these major historical movements that challenged Confucianism, but Chinese society still, at its core, operates on the basis of Confucian values. Take this recent example. To reduce the pressure on welfare systems, the government has introduced laws where adults have legal responsibility to take care of their parents, which further reinforces this idea and expectation of filial piety. So, what was the point of talking about all these movements that challenge Confucianism if it's still so prevalent in modern day China? Well, it may not have fundamentally revolutionized the way Chinese society is today, but its impacts can still be recognized. Education reforms, cultural movements diminishing Confucian influence, and the introduction of Western values has led to a rise in individual autonomy, leading to young people expecting to live a free and independent life. The younger generation might be thinking their parents are of the same status as them and shouldn't tell them what to do. Or they may fulfill some expectations, but they can't accept living a life following their parents' ambitions and want more freedom in choosing a life for themselves. Regardless of how young people think, they can't shake off these obligations, which is where a lot of this pressure is coming from. Okay, so now that we have some context behind Chinese society, the concepts of renting, of filial piety, and the evolution of these expectations, I can finally talk about this cute frog game. Oh, actually, before we talk about the frog game, let's quickly pretend we're living in China as a young person. The reality is that there's fierce competition and a lot of pressure. By the way, shameless plug to my last video where I dive into how bad all this pressure really gets in China, but watch that one later. Because of all this competition, pressure, and expectations placed, it's not uncommon for individuals to choose to live out their life and their dreams vicariously. Cue our favorite frog. Travel Frog is a game developed by Japanese studio Hitpoint Co., where players take care of their frog, but not much else. The frog goes on adventures of its own and comes back home sometimes to see you for a bit before they're off again. While the premise is quite simple, it absolutely captivated the hearts of Chinese players and is one of the most famous single-player games in China. Many players formed parasocial relationships with the frog through this game, and we can actually see here the impact of culture on the attachments that are formed. Studies show that Japanese participants, usually female players which developed parasocial relationships with the frog, see the frog as their husband. And this is likely because work trips are a big part of Japanese culture, so the frog going away is similar to the work trips that their husbands take. Compare this to China, where many players regard the frog as a son to take care of. This was so fascinating to me. So then, the popularity of Travel Frog and the parasocial relationships being developed prompted a lot of reflection over why players like the game.
With a travel frog? Okay, that shit's like, at least when it's like a human or like a sexy human, like an idol or whatever, that kind of makes sense. You're listening to their music or what. A frog, dude? That's wild.
Game and why they felt such a strong bond with the frog. A study by Zhou Nansong in 2021 used focus groups to look exactly into this.
I'm not going to fucking address you guys going feels weird, man, Hasan. I don't know who told you to spam it when I come back. I'm just not going to address it. You can keep spamming it all day. I don't give a fuck.
To start off, participants were asked what they liked about Travel Frog, and many players responded that they yearned for the stress-free and independent lifestyle that the frog in the game had. When the frog wanted to go somewhere, it did, without regard for anything else. The follow-up question to these participants then was, why didn't they live this lifestyle if they wanted it? And the responses directly reflected a lot of cultural context we mentioned earlier. One player said that they wanted this lifestyle, but was unable to pursue it because of of the expectations that were placed on them. It's common in China to see the older generation have some sort of roadmap for when they think young people should get married and buy a home and have kids, which restricts the autonomy of the younger generation. Another player responded that there were many practical problems which limited her, as she raised questions like, if I left, who is going to take care of my parents? If I traveled all the time, how would I be able to keep a stable relationship? How will I make money and how will I save money? These anxieties around family obligations, financial security, and marriage prospects all tie back to cultural values, how families should be, and what responsibilities young people have. Even though these players yearn for the frog's independent, carefree lifestyle, it's something that might be out of reach for them due to societal pressure and the practicality of it all. However, they're able to project this desire they have onto the frog, watching it live a carefree life and travel around instead of giving up on this wish entirely. If we take this one step further, this wish can then explain why a large amount of parasocial fans from China view the frog specifically as a son. Based on the idea of Confucian filial piety that we mentioned before, children were expected to fulfill their parents' wishes and to bring honor to the family. In the same vein, players project their hopes onto the frog, and given the specific cultural context, it's easy for Chinese players to see the frog as their child. I also need to highlight here how unique the parasocial interaction is in Travel Frog compared to other games. Usually in a game, when you input an action to move forward, the character responds because you're playing through that character. But in Travel Frog, you're not the frog. Sure, you can do things, but the frog has a will of its own. This delayed feedback gives the impression that the player is not in control, and the frog does what it wants, which is exactly what many of these players desire in a parent-child relationship, as echoed by this respondent.
Or the NPC situation, right? Like the human beings being treated like NPCs, or even on Twitch streaming. It gives an element of like artificial intelligence or an element of like autonomy to the character that you're witnessing. So it's not like you're controlling that. What are you doing? Wait, dummy. You're gonna get hurt. Like that character has like the semblance of agency. So it's much better for humans to control a character with a semblance of agency than it is to just control a video game character. You can control a video game character all day, but this comes across more fun, more unique, more different.
Who says, I named the frog with my English name. The frog is like my son.
Why are you breathing, bro? You just fucking started. I started fucking your mom. Suck my cock 4 months ago. Have a good one. Good job! Good fucking job! While we're watching a goddamn video about fucking parasocial relationships. Bro, stop yelling. What the fuck? You take one, too. I'm in the mood.
And it also is like myself. It has its own things.
I'm in a mood!
After. Through Travel Frog, we can see how parasocial relationships with the frog represents cultural influences through the manifestation of each of these players' desires. Beneath the parasocial relationship that is developed with the frog lies a criticism of their current lifestyle and expectations placed on them. Our exploration of parasocial relationships in China revealed a push and pull of pressure and expectations. We discussed Parakin fans whose devotion can translate to extraordinary pressure on idols, and we looked at parasocial relationships formed through the game Travel Frog, which revealed a simple wish from the players to escape the pressures from everyday life. So we looked at how invested fans and players can be when they form parasocial relationships, but we didn't really go into how this might be encouraged. The truth is, when fans are this dedicated, there's a clear economic benefit to be had. And when we think about dedicated fans, the first thing that comes to my mind isn't China, but the K-pop scene. So let's take a look at Korea and how they've mastered the craft of not just getting fans, but in cultivating parasocial relationships. Most of you probably clicked into this video thinking of the Korean idol industry, and that's a testament to how passionate their fans are. Central to the K-pop idol.
There ain't no way. There ain't no fucking way there's actual chatters in here who are trying to fucking... Oh my God. Okay. I can't even catch it. Sometimes the mods grab it before I can say anything. What was that user's names? What was that username? I want to see what he said. Lashing out at viewers during critique of Parasocial reveals streamers lack a sense of control over their audience and their internal state. You are so fucking stupid, dude. You're so fucking stupid. It's quite literally the exact opposite. You're watching someone create a space and set very clear defined boundaries on said space. You've been a fucking Twitch watcher since 2015, you fucking loser. Oh my God. Shut your dumb ass up. I hate it. I hate it when dumbasses come in here and watch me set boundaries and go, this guy's got no control over his own audience.
Relevance as a lasting cultural product is the cultivation of parasocial relationships. Parasocial relationships, as we mentioned earlier when we looked into Paragon fans, don't necessarily have to be bad. Often we form these non-reciprocal bonds as a way to fulfill psychological needs which might not be able to be met. Parasocial relationships tend to our need of belonging and a need of validation. When it comes to K-pop though, and as someone who has created a stan Twitter account for 3 weeks back when COVID started, this is my takeaway. Being a fan is fun, but being part of fandom is work. Twitter, I swear, at one point was owned by ARMY, who are the fans of K-pop group BTS. This chart, looking at 2017, shows the top most used hashtags in the world. The top 4 are all BTS related. This graph, I know, is
clearing everybody. What the fuck?
But the power of K-pop fandoms has only grown. It's not just K-pop fans though, but fandom power in general. In fact, in the most recent Twitter report, they literally called out fan world as something to look out for. We looked at Paragon fans when we discussed China to capture the unique parasocial relationships that were formed.
Thank you,
there.
Egg Lover Guy,
Jung
for the 50 gifted subs.
Fancom as a system by which fans manage their idols, but it's less so about the expectations and more so about taking actions to enhance their image. For example, fans actively participate in social cultural events like fundraising, donating to charity, and undertaking efforts to make sure these idols flourish. These fans may also often participate in a lot of free PR for the company, like promoting artists on social media threads, or translating material so more people can access the idol group and become fans, and generating discussion around their idols so more people are aware of them. Fancom practices also include fans feeling compelled to maybe police the content that is on social media if there is something detrimental to the idol's image, like spamming good keywords and hashtags to trick the algorithm into making those keywords trending instead of the supposed scandal. And something interesting about the way fan culture is evolving is that instead of these fans just passively observing the idols perform in the traditional landscape, fans nowadays actively cultivate this parasocial relationship.
Bro, where are my fucking fans doing that? Okay? That's what I ask. All my fans do is get me canceled. They make inside memes from this stream in the outside world, and all my fucking haters take it seriously. And they get me canceled.
Taking actions themselves that enhances this idea of their idol. This then touches upon a concept called participatory culture, theorized by media scholar Henry Jenkins. This refers to a culture in which individuals are not just consumers, but also participate in the creation and distribution of media narratives. A related term is prosumers, combining the term consumer and content producer, as nowadays fans often interact, edit, and revamp content like producers would. Fancom practice also includes trying to support the idol by breaking streaming records or album purchasing records. In fact, research by Liang in 2016 indicates that fans' purchasing behaviors for their idols represents a kind of self-identity, bringing them not only a sense of belonging within their fandom, but also a sense of satisfaction. That might explain why fans in parasocial relationships are often linked to overconsumption. We saw this in the milk wastage incident in China, but a similar occurrence applies in K-pop too. By design, K-pop albums have photo cards, which are exclusive pictures of the idols, and whatever photo card is put in the album is random. If you have a group of 6 people and there's only one random photo card, you might end up getting a member that isn't your favorite member. So the idea is someone should buy 6 copies of the same album just for a good chance of drawing their favorite member. In addition to that, album...
That's insane, bro. It's so manipulative. They're making you get 6x the number of albums, dude. That is so fucked up. They're like, hey, they put Gamba in the album purchases. Yo. Brilliant. Fucking brilliant, dude.
Albums also come in different variations. So your favorite idol could have taken 3 different poses for their photo card, and now the really dedicated fans might try to complete the collection of their favorite member. More rare than photo cards and much more similar to a lottery system are chances to participate in...
Where is EXO, the biggest EXO stan? I forget her name. She's in the chat right now. Don't even start on how stans manipulate streaming. What do you mean streaming? I'm always boosting your thirst traps. Keep me out of this. Thank you. I'm here, King. Dude, you read me like twice earlier? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I like how this is the only thing I know for stream. If you go to Target K-pop albums, she's playing EXO music in the video. By the way, chat, you're being brainwashed. Sometimes Hoswit does that for you as a joke. If you go to Target, the K-pop album's got to be locked now because people just steal the cards out.
Fan calls. Fan calls give fans a chance to talk to their idol in a one-on-one call for around a minute. But to be chosen, it's a raffle system, and one ticket is usually tied to one album purchase. This lottery system encourages fans to buy tens or hundreds of copies of the same album to
Bro, all I'm learning is I give too much of myself out there for no fucking reason. Okay? When I could be monetizing everything. Okay? Holy shit. I sit there after a fucking... First of all, I make no money off the TwitchCon meet and greets. Number 1. Number 2, I do it right after I got Twitch almost killed me. And I still did the meet and greet. When I could be fucking charging Gamba on one meet and greet. Crazy. Messed up. And you're out here doing chat voice for free? Yeah.
Their odds. What this results in are perfectly good albums going to waste, as often they'll just be left on the side of the road. One person took to Twitter to express their frustrations from seeing another K-pop group's albums being dumped, as they call for this person to be responsible for their own waste. Tweets like this highlight the problem of overconsumption, waste, and the environmental impacts of implementing random photo cards and lottery fan call draws that are all tied to album sales, as the fans that are contributing to wastage the most are the ones buying exorbitant copies for one of those reasons. Whether it's luck-based draws or idol fundraising events, it's clear that fans can provide tremendous financial support, and the stronger the attachment between fan and idol, the more fancom practices there are. Therefore, if you're an entertainment agency and you're launching an idol group, which isn't cheap, and you've invested all this money and time to train them up, you want fans to feel attached to them. You want fans that will root for them, clear paths for them, gather them attention, stream, spread word of mouth, and financially support the group through buying albums and merchandise. In the beginning of this section, we mentioned that Korea's big entertainment companies had really mastered the craft of connecting audiences with their idols to help cultivate parasocial relationships. So let's take a look at some of the strategies agencies might use to help parasocial bonds form. First, before the companies even show the new idols, they'll often make an announcement followed by teaser clips to create a sense of anticipation, kind of like seeing the...
I'm confused. Is the group actually good? I mean, they make decent music half the time. But the real reason is the personalities are so perfectly crafted. Here's the reality. No real human being is like a real idol, okay? It's not like the BTS guys are unique and they're like godlike. No, it's just what they put forward, what they show you is basically calculated in a lab by Kai, get out of there, by scientists. For example, I'll show you the inverse of this. Streamers are the exact opposite. We're always on. There's a lot of like familiarity that you might have, but it's not calculated because you're live and you're reacting to real stimuli in the real world. So it's basically impossible for you to be super fake all the time. You know what I mean? Whereas with like VTubers, you can at least hide it a little bit better and create this persona. That's why they have idol culture in VTube. Because you're not really seeing a real person react in a real person style way. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know VTubers are streamers, but they're not like a real human being that you can see. They can kind of fake it if they're in a shitty mood. You know what I mean? So, my point is, it's like limited familiarity in perfectly calculated little teasers that cause people to go this way, to go crazy. It's perfectly curated for your tastes. It's crafted by a bunch of very smart people that know exactly how to market you. You know what I mean? And it's unblemished. That's how people both have the familiarity and like the perfect structure, like the structure of perfection that marketers build for these characters who don't have relationships, who are basically like, it's kind of like the NPC TikTok streamer versus a video game character that you can control. You know the video game character is fake. The NPC on TikTok, you know that's a real human. And you can manipulate it, right? Jimin or BTS or EXO or all these idols, they're real humans. And you know they're real humans, but they're perfect. So they give you so much of their lives, way more, you get way more familiarity with them than you would with like a Hollywood celebrity. But they show only perfection to you. Perfection because every single person that's on that team knows exactly what kind of stimuli you will react to in a positive way. And it's hyper curated and hyper specific to your tastes, which is why you respond the way that you do. Ryan, get out of there. Oh my God. Does that make sense? It's a fully controlled, fully curated, fully manicured experience, which is why you go, holy fuck, these are like not human. They're like demigods. Because, for example, if I streamed the hours I streamed, but also somehow had the capability of like showing my best, putting my best foot forward, showing like the best version of myself to you all the time, never angry, never cursing, maybe. Whatever you thought was like the perfect version of me. Sometimes shirtless, always good at everything. You know what I mean? I try a video game, I'm cracked at it. I'm always on. I'm performing always. While also responding to you every now and then. But always great. No stun locks. You know, you would lose your fucking mind. I would be like a product. Be much more successful that way, I think. So, but it's impossible, I think, for after a long enough time A human being can't do that in this format. Other than VTubers. VTubers can do it as best as they can. Which is why I think VTubers have like more ride or die fandoms. One of the BTS members is basically a streamer, so your point contradicts itself with his existence. Do you think every single thing that you see from BTS members is not perfectly crafted for you, even after 27 minutes of this video? There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying these people are different than the way you see it. They're different than the way you consume them. But that's like why BTS became mega huge. They were super sincere with their music and everything. Okay, guys. Sure. Look, I love BTS, okay? I stand Jimin. Please don't get mad at me. But you're hooked. Somewhere out there, someone in their management is also still controlling certain aspects of their personality. At least controlling certain... Celebrities do this. Every celebrity does this. Mason was here. I know him very well. Wonderful person. He was like, oh yeah, well, I'm trained by my publicist to not answer certain fucking questions. That's media training. It's so that they don't show like sides of themselves that might seep into territory that might not be marketable. Okay? It's literally what management does. That's what their job is. Do you understand? Like, there's a reason, for example, a lot of celebrities stay the fuck away from politics because they don't want to alienate any specific group of people that are treating them as a commodity. Especially when we get to because of your viral One Piece post, I responded to many of your haters and explained how difficult the position was as a live reactor to such a toxic, volatile space such as politics. People really aren't charitable to why you do what you do. Yeah, they don't understand it. They don't get it. And they'll never get it. Why? Because PR is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Marketing is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's an industry that exists to not look like it exists. Its sole purpose is to make you think you made a particular decision about a product. And yes, it's not just about buying the Grimace Shake. That also is about purchasing idol cards, or that's also about watching a particular movie because your favorite actor's in it. In a way, yes, you are no different. Many of you are no different than the dudes who think they're messaging the OnlyFans models and not some dude in Indonesia. The reality is, every aspect of the commodity they're consuming in Hollywood, in America, in American capitalist Hollywood, whether it be music, whether it be film, a lot of that is perfectly crafted. That's why there's no bad angles in the product. But you think they put blemishes in a fucking Dua Lipa music video? You think Dua Lipa doesn't have bad days? You think Dua Lipa doesn't have days where she feels tired? Don't look that great? You just don't get to see it. You know what I mean? K-pop has taken that formula and streamlined it, perfected it, and even added a gotcha component to it, it seems. Like idol culture, stan culture in Asia. But I think a big part of the problem with someone like myself as a Twitch streamer, okay, is that people are so used to that perfectly manicured media personality that they think is actually just being real, really real, you know? No blemishes. They're so used to that. They're so used to being conditioned by that they think dumbass e-celebs who fucking sit in their goddamn living room live for 8 hours are just bad people by design, because all you've seen from the celebrity world is perfect people, is good people. You know what I mean? You're very patronizing about this, though. Yeah, I agree with you, but I still think they still go to make they seem more human. Like them still show their faults, even if it's controlled. What? What are you saying? That still means curated. I'm honestly shocked you even need to explain most of this. How does everyone's first thought? Okay. One thing that people keep saying in here is like, well, you don't get it. Idols actually show a lot more of their lives than fucking Hollywood celebrities do. Yeah, that's why they have stans, dude. That doesn't change the reality that like every aspect of their lives, from all the clothes that they're wearing to how they might be perceived in a certain light, is all manufactured. Their faults are like them hating ketchup on burgers? Yeah. Suck a cock for free healthcare? This is an important question. I said yes before. I've answered this question. If all Americans if we get, Kaya, get out, Kaya. Hey, get out of there. Oh my gosh, keep smelling around the fucking treadmill. I get scared. Anyway, even this. You just saw me yell at Kaya. That was real. That was a real moment. There's no, like, if I was cutting a YouTube video, I probably wouldn't post that in the YouTube video, because I know that some people will look at that and think that that's mean, or think that that is like animal abuse even, and they would get it in their minds. It happens every fucking day. The parasocial backseat dog dads and moms in the chat do this to me all day, every day. They can do this to me because I'm live and it's blemished and it's real. I don't think you will ever see, unless something massively is fucked up and like there's a breakdown of trust, or there's some kind of hack or leak. I don't think you're ever going to see a BTS person get to even that point with an animal. That's why Daily Dose says more people want to be YouTubers than Twitch streamers. Yeah, because on YouTube, there's still one layer removed from the audience. You can put your best foot forward. That doesn't even necessarily mean it's fake. It's just, it could be you, but like closer to who you are than like a Hollywood celebrity, but still not everything you're doing. Whereas in this circumstance, I'm basically a zoo animal. The only thing you don't see is me pissing off camera. So there's nothing I can change. That doesn't mean that like live televised events can't be perfectly crafted. Television has been doing live events for years and years. Of course they can. They just have actual fucking teams that put it together. Producers, live editors on the spot, hair and makeup teams. You get it? The problem is a lot of people think, delay. The problem is a lot of people think what they see on live productions, whether it be K-pop or whether it be anything else, is how people are. That's like how perfect people are. That's normal. That's just how they are. They show me everything. They show me everything about their lives. They're not lying to me. They're not manufacturing an image. So then you start comparing that to any other kind of celebrity, including a dumbassy celebrity like a Twitch streamer, and you go, well, this guy's a fucking real shit in comparison to my favorite idol, Jimin, who's perfect. And I've even seen him on a live stream. He's perfect all the time. Well, yeah. So I'm going to be real with you. You won't get anywhere with this. Like, I bet right now, 20K of them are making a thread titled BTS most real uncurated moments of thread. Just smile and wave while you can. This is exactly why entertainers get canceled. Some conduct which contradicts their manufactured image surfaces. Exactly. That was the point I was going to make. Like Chaeyoung. Stand Twice. My favorite. Okay? My favorite Twice member now. My Twice bias. Chaeyoung was captured, caught twice, no pun intended, wearing either QAnon merch or even a Vivienne Westwood shirt that featured a swastika on it. Okay? That was devastating. That was shocking. Chaeyoung is perfect. She's my idol. I love her. Perfect. But what happened? She was imperfect. And that's what happens all the time. When the perfect curated image somehow has like a blemish on it. That's the reason why people lose their fucking minds over it. If Ezra Miller went and beat up another person tomorrow, nobody would turn around and go, wow, that's really fucked up. Why? Because you expect Ezra Miller to beat the shit out of families all the fucking time. That motherfucker does not have a PR team. Okay? They are unhinged. They, them menace. I'm using an example that's exaggerated. It's obviously extreme. But the point is, the reason why people get really fucking crazy over fans, like the reason why fans get really, really, really crazy over minor blemishes is because every other aspect of their lives are so perfectly crafted and cultivated. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's get back to this video. I can't believe I've gotten on so many different sidetracks on so many different side quests, but it's a very good video overall.
The trailers before movies are released. Then, before any official debut, companies will often show behind the scenes clips so fans can see idols in day-to-day situations beyond the stage. Companies may also often publicize the idol's journey in getting to where they are to highlight the idea that celebrities aren't necessarily where they are now because they're naturally talented, but because they've really put in the hard work. This makes us want to root for them and see them be rewarded for all their efforts, as well as playing into an aspirational ideal that anyone can become an idol if they're determined and willing to work hard. Compared to the earlier days of K-pop, where groups were promoted with an air of mystery, now it's all about relatability and accessibility. The creation of V-Live, an online live streaming app for Korean stars to connect with their fans, was therefore a game changer. Fans would be notified to join the live stream whenever it occurred and interact with their idol in real time. They could leave messages in the chat and there would be a chance that the idol might see their message and respond. The ability to share the same moment with the idol or celebrity allowed for greater intimacy than ever before. Some other examples include rules like dating bans, where new idols are expected to remain single to appeal to teenage romantic fantasies. These are all some tactics that can be used, but obviously I'm not here to reduce fan support as a result of X or Y or Z strategy. It's just from a company's point of view that things are a lot more transactional because of the potential of parasocial relationships. So far, we've looked at parasocial relationships between fans and idols, all real people. But parasocial relationships can also develop even if these people aren't real. For the final part of this video, I want to look at how parasocial bonds may develop between us and fictional characters. I will be looking in particular into the gaming and anime industry, and it's fascinating how real our feelings can get even when the characters themselves aren't.
This literally, like, I feel like part 4 and part 3 combined is VTube. That's why they're so poppin'. That's how I feel.
I chose to look at Japan for fictional characters because of how well known their gaming and anime industries are.
I don't like
anime
the video
is
anymore.
Probably one of Japan's most widely recognizable cultural exports. Whilst Japan's gaming industry was the world's third biggest market in 2021 with a value of 29 billion. Obviously, Japan also has a thriving idol and entertainment industry too, but I'll be focusing on just anime and gaming for this section. With anime, the first big difference in examining parasocial relationships is that a lot of the times we form bonds with the characters based on shared values. Yes, most of the times characters will still be really good looking, but fans will point out traits like liking a character's tenacity and determination as they navigate through all their obstacles. I mean,
bro, this took a turn, as in turn it off now, please. This got too real. You know what? That's so funny. All the fucking nerds in the chat that were shitting on the fucking K-pop stands are now like going, despair. No, actually, this is good enough. The video is long enough. I mean, the last 9 minutes, who needs to watch that? Come on now. I mean, let me have my figurines, okay? Nami, dearest, she actually loves me.
When you think about it, this makes perfect sense, since through storytelling we get a lot more depth to the background of a character. Research shows that when everything else is equal, we tend to prefer kind and likable people, so it makes sense that the words used most frequently to describe our favorite characters are determined, loyal, perseverant, bold, distinct, kind, and self-sacrificing. The last one is a bit concerning, but I guess that's just a trait that many main characters and heroes have. To illustrate this point further, in 2020, a survey asked around 7,600 elementary school students across Japan who they most looked up to, and Tanjiro from Demon Slayer was the #1 most voted answer.
That's fucking insane, dude. Hey, yo! That's so crazy. Tanjiro, really? That's insane. They watch in mid. Okay, first of all, it's a great, incredibly well-drawn anime. That's wild that you would just call that mid. Yeah, it takes some time to get to. It takes some time to get to fucking an area where the story climaxes, okay? Specifically 17 episodes in for the first season. Oh my fucking lord. But like, great combat, beautifully drawn. Demon Slayer is word, and Tanjiro is a good role model. Plus, yeah, Tanjiro is a good role model, I think. Anyway. Demon Slayer was insanely popular for a couple years, so kind of understandable. Dude, wait, when did they do this? When did they do the survey? 2020?
Determination as they navigate through all their obstacles. I mean, when you think about it, this makes perfect sense, since through storytelling we get a lot more depth to the background of a character. Research shows that when everything else is equal, we tend to prefer kind and likable people, so it makes sense that the words used most frequently.
From what I understand, like, a lot of people at least choose Luffy. Bro, come on. Like, I love One Piece, but like, do you really think Luffy is a good... Do you think Luffy is a good role model, bro? Luffy is the ultimate, like, reacting to things because at his core, he's a nice guy. So he's reacting to external stimuli in the correct way, but oftentimes through sheer luck type situation. Maybe it gets different later in the series. And I love Luffy's I love the series politics, as you guys know, as I've talked about so many times over, but like, kind of stupid. What do you mean, bro? That's like a good thing, though. Like that's good. He's pure. He's pure. There's a purity to it. In the beginning, almost childlike. And then later on, that purity still maintains itself through him being strong-headed, stubborn, but dumb in a good way, with a kind heart. Anyway. He's talking about anime characters like K-pop. He's talking about an idol. Ha ha ha. It's full circle. I mean, not necessarily, because we're talking about media interpretation. Like, I know Luffy's not a real person. You know what I mean? It's much more interesting for me to dive into what the creator of the content's personal politics might be, or what they are trying to represent in a particular story. You know what I mean? I know that this person, there is no one out there that has, like, you know, they didn't eat the gum fruit and then develop a way to fucking stretch their arms out, like, but can't swim. You know what I mean? Iroh is an actual insane role model. From dark background to what he is now shows that even the worst insult can change your life to get better. I mean, I think Avatar: The Last Airbender had that so nailed down. Like, every fucking character was incredible at being a role model. Also, you're not even talking about Uncle Iroh. You're talking about Zuko, I think, right? Like, every single character played a perfect role in being a great role model, and very diverse show as well. In a way where people didn't even really think about it like that. Anyway, there's definitely a difference, though, from doing media literacy or media analysis versus, like, thinking that what you're seeing in an idol's life is real, and, like, how they're feeling in any given moment. The way I think about it is this: you will rarely ever see an idol in a truly negative, mean light. You know what I mean? Even though we all have those moments throughout the day, because those imperfections are what makes us human. Even if you see them 24/7 on a fucking live broadcast, you don't see them 24/7, 7 days a fucking week. And therefore, like, there are so many moments that, like, every single moment that you see an idol, they wanted you to see them that way. Yeah, big thing is that they don't have strong opinions about things. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why I keep comparing it to myself. Someone like myself who has a lot of haters and a lot of lovers alike. But the reason why I have a lot of fucking haters is because I have strong opinions about pretty much everything. And so do you. That's what humans do. Let's keep going.
To describe our favorite characters are determined, loyal, perseverant, bold, distinct, kind, and self-sacrificing. The last one is a bit concerning, but I guess that's just a trait that many main characters and heroes have. To illustrate this point further, in 2020, a survey asked around 7,600 elementary school students across Japan who they most looked up to, and Tanjiro from Demon Slayer was the #1 most voted answer. Moms only.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've always wondered why. Wait, people say I look like Yami from Black Clover? What is this? What the fuck? Born as Tsukihiro Yami, is a descendant of the Yami clan from the Hino country. As a child, he fled the country's shipwrecked Clover Kingdom. Wait, it literally, first thing it said was that he's slightly hypocritical on the fandom page. It says, Yami is uncouth, reckless, slightly hypocritical, and prone to delivering death threats at the slightest provocation. How is that me? What the fuck? Okay, the death threat thing makes sense, but nevertheless, he's powerful and well-respected magic knight who was able to recognize Asta's merits. He's typically a stoic man who believes more in actions than words. He is very hot-headed, who can be easily angered by small matters such as being bumped by another person or interrupted when talking. Yami also has a penchant for intimidation, whether he uses threatening words or physically harms his target. He also tends to immediately go straight for a more physical solution to any problems and confrontations, such as when he destroys a part of the squad's headquarters to calm his subordinates. Despite being very bullheaded, reckless, and unrefined, Yami is an experienced and perceptive warrior, picking apart his opponent's strategies with a glance and is constantly trying to come up with counters for them. Furthermore, he also prefers instilling tough love to his subordinates by giving them dangerous missions. He believes that this is the best way for them to overcome their limits and grow stronger. That's you with chatters, but not you IRL. You are very kind IRL, even to your enemies. True, I am very kind. I think. Oh, Mason said I look like Yami. Oh, that's very nice of him to say. Such a great show. I don't know.
Only came in at number 2. Amongst the reason as to why Tanjiro was chosen, the most common response echoed that he always tries his best without giving up, whilst other reasons included he is always nice to everyone, and if I think about Tanjiro, I can do my best. That's literally so wholesome. But it's not always the nice characters that can steal our heart, although they seem to be fan favorites. Any character that pulls us in, makes us feel what they feel, and go through things good and bad with them can leave a lasting impression on us. In a way, this is a reflection less on parasocial interactions and more on good writing. If we finish a book or a show and the story just remains in our head, then the author did a great job. What about if we look less at characters and stories and more on actual fan behavior? In relation to anime, you have fans that enjoy the content and then fans who show more attachment.
Abi Tanjiro tam bir Kur'an kursu çocuğu. Vay amına koyayım. Abi Türkiye'de Weeb var ya artık inanılmaz. Böyle bir konsept inanamıyorum yani böyle bir şey. It's so weird. It's so weird seeing a Turkish person make a profoundly Turkish reference about a fucking anime, because it's just so wild. Like it's accurate. There's basically no way for me to legitimately translate it because you don't have the cultural reference. I guess like a church boy, like a kid that's like really into church. Like he's saying he's like a Quran course kid. That's what he's saying about Tanjiro. Ben animeyi ilk Türkçe izledim. I don't know what you're talking about. Wait, what do you mean? Tsubasa. When I was growing up, we had Tsubasa in Turkish dub, but that shit sucked. I hated it. Kaptan Tsubasa. That was what was popping in Turkey because Turkish people love football. Yeah, a goody two shoes.
And more parasocial behavior. A term that's relevant to the more obsessed side of things is the word otaku. When looking at fan behavior, a study was done by Raisin and others in exploring anime fan obsession, and they measured it on 3 scales. The first was fanship, the extent one considers themselves a fan of something. The second, fandom, the extent of them identifying with the community. And finally, on obsession, where respondents answered a series of questions like, I spend all my free time watching anime, and I can sometimes be obsessive watching anime. When compared to non-otakus, self-identified otakus scored higher for all 3 measures. What exactly then is an otaku? The Google definition of an otaku is someone who is obsessed with computers or pop culture in Japan to the detriment of their social skills. Not exactly a label you'd give yourself with pride. And several scholars paint otakus in quite a negative light, such as Nakamori, listing characteristics like fanatical introversion, friendlessness, having a gloomy expression, and sitting alone in class, which is not a great look. Unless they choose to just sit next to the window, then all of a sudden I think they might not be an otaku, but just every edgy main character we know instead. Two more terms most often jokingly used to establish.
Bro, this is a really well thought out, well crafted video, but also I partially feel like she's a bit of a stand too for a lot of shit with like subtle references that she keeps dropping in there. Like, you know what I mean?
Establish attachment to the character are the terms waifu and husbandos. Waifu refers to a fictional character an anime fan considers to be wife material, or the wife, and husbando is the husband equivalent. A lot of the times these terms are used jokingly, but it is a term of affection and greater attachment to the character. And a really interesting observation that Raisin and others made in their study was that fans who have a waifu or husbando report relying on the anime fandom to achieve optimal distinctiveness. What is optimal distinctiveness? This refers to the balancing act, where we want to stand out and be unique, but not too much, not to the point where you feel alone, or to the point where you're sticking out like a sore thumb. So for anime fans with a waifu or husbando, they're more likely to use the anime fandom to balance this need. This likely could tie back to the responses from these fans on how they perceive the anime fandom to be more unique, and how their strong sense of belonging helps distinguish themselves from other people. Looking at anime allowed us to see how parasocial bonds may be formed differently when it's in relation to fictional characters. But watching anime is still quite a passive act because you're watching something happen. Does this differ then when we compare it to gaming, for example? When the players
Saw a tall guy at Anime Expo who bought 3 fucking swords and an entire One Piece manga collection. That's not funny, okay? That's a normal thing that people do. That's why you go to the Anime Expo. It's not called Anime Don't Buy Stuff here, okay? It's called Anime Expo, okay? Do you understand? You're supposed to buy anime stuff there. I don't know why. I bet that guy was fucking super cool. Did you know that? You didn't. You looked at him and you were like, oh, wow, like this guy's probably weird. He was probably an otaku or something. No, he was the most normal guy there, okay? And the coolest. Fuck you. Yeah. Anime Expo, short for anime expenditure, okay? Fucking guy over here doesn't want me to, or not me, doesn't want the other tall, very handsome, very buff guy supporting small businesses, dude. Don't know why I said me there. Clearly that wasn't me. I would do such a thing because it's not weird, but I wasn't doing that.
actively interacting with the content. Unsurprisingly, it kind of does. And when players form parasocial attachments, their spending behavior is also likely to increase, as we see patterns quite similar to how K-pop capitalizes on fans having parasocial relationships. Within Japan's gaming industry, one of the most profitable genres are gacha games, grossing billions worldwide in recent years. Gacha games are mobile games where players can spend money, both real or in-game currency, towards a gambling system so they can get characters. Within the community, this is also known as pulling for characters. Players usually pull for a character based on their desirability as fictional people. Lax and Mackenzie state that this desire to obtain a character is due to a parasocial relationship that has been developed based on the character's aesthetic, their personality, or other factors. Gacha games are often seen to be a form of online gambling because when players pull for a character, they have to spend in-game currency, and it's not guaranteed that they'll get the character.
Oh! I'm actually okay with this.
For example, in Japanese game Grand Order, the chance you'll get one of the rarest characters is 0.7%. So
I'm so happy that I've never gotten into these fucking games. Holy shit, dude. I could see myself just dumping everything. You know what I mean? God, I have such an addictive personality. My ex spent $5,400 on one of those shitty ass games. I still miss her. Damn, dude.
So to reliably get the character, you should expect to spend around $458 worth of in-game currency. And from a survey sent out to almost 1,000 Japanese Grand Order players, 20% revealed that they've spent this much to pull for
Yeah, think about it. Like, I did it for Valo skins. You know what I mean? If I was in a fucking gacha, I would go crazy.
Character before, and a third of these players who've spent $460 already didn't even manage to successfully pull for their character. Something that might separate gacha mechanics from more traditional online gambling is how odds are often personified. Some gacha communities refer to successfully pulling a character they wanted as them coming home.
I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't really expect you're gonna come home.
Reflecting that the character has recognized the player's desire and come to where they belong. The other genre of games that I wanted to draw attention to in this video in relation to parasocial relationships are otome and idol games. Otome games are story-based games targeted towards women where one of the goals would be for the player to form a romantic relationship with one of the male characters. Idol games are usually more popular amongst men. It's usually a training simulation game where you can complete rhythm challenges to train up your idols, and the end goal is to make them into the biggest idol in Japan. In both these types of games, it's easy to form attachments to these characters and consequently develop parasocial relationships. A focus study was done with 20 Japanese participants that regularly played games to better understand if a player's preference on an in-game character had anything to do with how they saw other people in real life. Since dating sims often portray an impressive array of characters that are visually very good looking and have unique storylines where the romance develops, having similar expectations for
We gotta play one of these fucking games, dude. Like dating sim of guys.
real life would make things a bit difficult. When it comes to the male
Playing otome. Otome.
players, many of them responded that they had similar preferences for game characters and people in the real world. One male player who liked idol games said that he was influenced by these game characters and that his standards for girls in the real world may be elevated because of the expectations the girls in the games met. Some female players then revealed that based on the games they played, they often dreamed of the romantic scenes in the games to be real and to happen to them in the real world. There were then both female and male respondents who stated that they weren't as affected.
Oh, Dream Daddy? No, that one's like too memey. I want to see like a real one.
In the sense that them liking game characters didn't affect what kind of people they liked in the real world. Most of the responses in the study were quite balanced, which as you would think represents the large majority of the gaming demographic. However, whilst researching, I did come across some almost impressive levels of dedication some fans had, like this fan celebrating child's birthday, or
yeah, I don't think this is like an impressive dedication. I think this is terrifying.
or this man who actually unofficially married Vocaloid Hatsuno Miku in 2018.
Yeah, we remember him.
I feel like that's about as dedicated as you can get, and honestly, good for him for finding happiness with Miku. For that child fan though,
Mystic Messenger had me answering anime boy phone calls at 3 a.m., but I don't know if that can be streamed. Why do you admit this? Why? Why are you admitting that? I mean, thank you for admitting, but also, I like the dating mode in Yakuza 0 to 2. Wait, there's a dating mode in Yakuza 2 and all the way from Yakuza 0 to 2? The fuck? I'm about to finish 2 and I still haven't seen it.
I just want to know, are you adopting? This video has gone on for a long time, but to be fair, we did talk about a lot of things. We looked at parasocial relationships through an East Asian context.
Majima everywhere? Yeah, is it? Are you talking about dating Majima? What is this? Snowbreak Containment Zone just dropped and it broke my brain already. I have 5 JPEG girlfriends, please. Snowbreak, please, FPS. Tears of Themis is mobile only. Mihoyo. Snowbreak, please. Mira is so perfect. I spent $2,000 on Hello Kitty Gacha, please. Snowbreak, please, though. Snowbreak. Tears of Themis is the boy dating sim, though. I have no idea what this person is saying. Sometimes when I see stuff like this in the chat, I just imagine the other person on the other side being like a perfectly reasonable, you know what I mean? Like a marketing manager, goes to the gym 7 days a week, shredded, just a perfectly normal guy, and then just so deeply unhinged online, just writing the most psychopathic shit. For real, I'm not okay, but I'm a normal person that worked at an anime bar and got into gacha. Okay, you worked at an anime bar, you're not a normal person. What is this? I love Temis, but legitimately not a good otome game. Lol, Ikemen Sengoku is a fun otome where you date Japanese warlords from the Sengoku period, including Tokugawa and Nobunaga. What? Go through the Ultimate games on the Switch store. It's so funny to watch the previews and think about the games. Do it on stream. You won't even have to buy anything.
How this attachment might form, as well as what behaviors fans might exhibit towards real people and fictional characters. Even though a lot of the time what we'll hear in the media about this topic are the really extreme cases, and this is also what I did in the beginning of the video to hook you in, parasocial relationships at its crux is about fulfilling a need, and typical parasocial relationships aren't harmful. That being said, like everything in life, there needs to be a balance. If it's veering towards an unhealthy obsession, that should prompt some reflection from us. I also think this topic is just one that's going to become more and more relevant as more things move online. Social media has already eroded a lot of our face-to-face interactions, and then COVID exacerbated our reliance on the internet, so more of us probably have parasocial relationships than you'd initially guess. For me, my most recent parasocial rabbit hole was actually getting really into the 2015 OKC Thunder squad and feeling sad about KD and Westbrook for 3.
What? Not Katie hugging Westbrook, bro. Why did he choose to leave? What? What? Bro, that's like way weirder than being into fucking anime, dude. That's so unexpected. She's an NBA head. No, being an NBA head is one thing. Being parasocially invested in 2015 NBA is entirely different. 2015 OKC? Are you fucking joking, dude? This is what I mean. So many people are parasocial to sports. This is literally the oldest, one of the oldest locks. One of the first times I developed a massive hater fan base. It wasn't America Deserved 9/11. It was when I said sports weebs are the same as like regular old weebs that go to fucking anime conventions, but that kind of standum is completely fucking normalized. I said that many years ago. I said that I think even before I said America Deserved 9/11. That was the first time I had like my big wave of fucking people being like, fuck this guy on Twitter. I think I said something along the lines of like sports weebs are the same as any other fucking fandom, but it's so normalized. It's so normalized that people don't treat it in the same way. That is a take that has not been repeated since. Yeah, I mean, I stopped because they were fucking sending me my IP address. You know what I mean? It was fucked up. But people got so mad, which is odd because it's like, dude, what do you mean? You're the same. You are literally the same. Sports weebs are worse because they often beat their wives when their new episode isn't good. That's funny. At least with sports weebs who were fascinated by super athletes, you anime weebs are dedicated to drawings, not the same law. You know what's really funny? That what you're saying is that right there, that defense right there immediately puts you in the same exact category because anime weebs would fucking literally say, what do you mean? You're fascinated by a real human being with real emotions. We're at least fascinated by like godlike deities that are completely made up and impossible to achieve in the real world. And also, that is the precise same fucking thing that like a BTS stan would say about sports weebs or about their own standum. They would say, what are you talking about? Jimin is an incredible dancer and has a beautiful voice and also is the kindest person I've ever seen. Okay. Also, you're talking to someone who does think LeBron is godlike. So I don't know what the fuck you mean. Like, I do think that LeBron James is a freak of nature and very difficult to achieve that kind of deity-like status. So Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think we can all agree that standing the 2015 OKC lineup is probably weirder than anything anyone else could have come up with. And it's like the type of information that a CIA black site would not be able to get out of me. If there was such an information in my body, I would take that to the motherfucking grave. You know what I mean?
3 days straight. But what about you? What are your thoughts on forming parasocial relationships, and do you think you've ever experienced it?
LeBron will never play ball with you. I don't know why you say that. That's well, one, even if true, very hurtful, and two, more likely than you think. You know what I mean? Like, it could I live in LA. It could happen.
Let me know. I'd love to hear what you think, or if any part of this video really stood out to you. For me, I found the study on Travel Frog and the types of parasocial relationships formed there so interesting. Thank you for watching all the way until the end. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Bro, you just said fuck sports like 100 times. Not balling with you. I mean, I love sports. I love doing sports. I just don't like watching sports that much. You are closer to LeBron than Chatter is to you. I mean, yes and no. Because I am a very accessible person. Like, if you go to a fucking TwitchCon meetup, you're going to definitely 100% see me. Whereas, I don't think LeBron James does shit like that. I think that's a good note to end it on. You know, positive note. Love you guys. And I will see you tomorrow, as always.